Well, hello, creatives, community, and kind folks. Welcome to RPG with DBJ. I am, of course, your host, DBJ, and of course, all of you who are able to participate in this show live, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, are our co hosts. And recently, in our hard science fiction niche corner of the tabletop role playing community, I've been using the Fermi Paradox as a method to tell some of our stories. And one of the paradoxes, and we're going to be pushing this to its limit, is that maybe Earth has already been visited by aliens. Now that has a lot of different meanings to it, and like how far in the past have we been visited by aliens? Are they talking 10 minutes, 10 weeks, 10 years, 10 millennia? Like how far away are we talking? Also, when it comes to alien visitation, did we recognize the visitation, or does the visitation not exist any longer? What do we mean by that? And so today we're going to talk about that as well, including alien visitation in a hard science fiction, no faster than light travel. We may become our own aliens type of analyses. And of course, this is, since we're talking tabletop role playing games, um, trying to prove a negative is quite a bit difficult. But the Fermi paradox mathematically tells us that we as human beings should be able to see life and civilizations having spread across many galaxies, and we should see evidence of that. And there is zero evidence of sentient life out there beyond the stars. Like, we feel like we're alone. And the Fermi paradox, there are things known as filters, and a Fermi paradox filter is basically, well, here's the reason why we don't see alien life and alien civilizations and evidence of such. And each of those filters has its own reasoning. This filter is somewhat of a backwards filter, in the sense that, no, there's been alien visitations. It just was in the past, and we just don't understand that we have been visited. So this is a great opportunity for tabletop games. The the concept of, oh, we have already been visited, or we're currently being visited, or we have visitors from some distant location or a distant realm, but we don't recognize it for what it is. Now, if we talk, let's talk immediacy and then start to roll backwards a little bit. So we've seen plenty of alien visitation movies and in media where everyone looks up in the sky. There's a big giant ship of something lets the population know that they've arrived, and uh, lo and behold, there's alien craft or alien probes or something like that, and they come into our atmosphere, and then drama and excitement and hilarity ensues. Now, how that happens in many different ways depends on how mysterious you'd like it to happen. Do you want something that fundamentally changes society? And because alien craft, punching through our upper atmosphere, and all of humanity seeing these craft, well, hovering above major cities, um, even if they don't do anything. We have a number of examples of this. We talked about the television show V. We've talked about um, uh, uh, the movie Arrival, which is a perfect example. Independence Day, and we can go on and on and on. But the great thing about those, District 9 is a perfect example as well. Alien craft floating in the atmosphere and changing society. And in many ways, yeah, Deadman says you can watch Neurotics, yep, QTR, Black Garrett, yeah, Adam Kriegler, yep, and X Ray Girl talk about alien visitations on many of their Sunday streams. Yeah, except Neurotics too negative for me. Just personally, just mm, it's like it's hate streaming, but I get it. And there is a whole niche part of the interwebs that's dedicated to talking about and analyzing alien visitation. Now, the more public an alien visitation would be, the greater chance you have of the greater chunks of society changing, whether they become far more religious, politically changing, individuals that are concerned with how to protect national security. They're going to be factions out there, whether they are psychological, helping people cope with the fundamental changes in how we perceive nature and alien life, to uh, individuals that are want to use this opportunity for their own benefits and selling out everyone else. Of course, they're going to be scientists and industrialists and things like that. They're interested, and a lot of those types of factions will absolutely be great as foils, obstacles, adversaries on the players to achieve a goal, where they may not necessarily be evil and enemies, but they may intrude themselves into the players' goals. Maybe the players need to speak with the aliens, but there's a military security faction that's out there to prevent any unmonitored contact with alien life or something. Now, when I say alien, especially with hard science fiction, alien could just be our own naughts, astronauts, cosmonauts, taikonauts, whatever you would like to call them. Our own staff explorers may leave humanity and return, and there may be questions about those people's return. Now, this may not be world-spanning ships that can hold tens of thousands that are scattered, floating over major cities. This may be just a mission into space. The individuals come back, they're held in quarantine, and all of a sudden, it's like their behavior starts to change, and maybe there are scientific methods of detection that start giving us readings that are strange, like maybe the biological function of the explorers has changed. The player characters themselves may be the explorers that have come back to Earth, and maybe they see humanity in different eyes. Maybe they really can penetrate the disguises of the body snatchers, or they are just looking at humanity through a, dare I say, an alien filter, and maybe the PCs are able to detect things, or they are on a mission of their own, especially even for like a one shot or something. They're on a mission of their own, but the rest of humanity doesn't understand what the PCs see. Drew says, more religious? I feel like most religions would crumble under the existence of extraterrestrial life. Well, I think you're right, except for the fact that I also think there are manipulators out there. So, and I would presume that on an individual level, lots of humanity would crave answers, and being heavy religious doctrine, I think they may try to scramble to that to explain the existence of alien life, right? Not that I don't agree with you. I think humans have proven themselves to fall into tried and true categories when it comes to explaining things they don't understand, and I think religion is one of those. And of course, with that, you're going to have charismatic leaders that are going to pop up and go, yeah, you're right, even though they're looking down at their religious dogma, going like, this is useless now. So, which unto itself, what was the movie? Contact. Contact was technically an alien contact movie that you're even at the end of the movie, we are not certain whether there was a real alien visitation. So in the movie Contact, which had an excellent way of doing it, humanity receives a signal from an alien source that gives us the schematics to create I would say, like a wormhole transportation vehicle of some sort that would cost in the trillions of dollars to construct. and might be able to uh, transport an explorer through time and space or something like that. Yeah, yeah. Deadman says, like the new movie Spaceman, Adam Sandler plays an astronaut on a deep space exploration trip to the Oort cloud who encounters, quote, alien life. Yeah. And even our own Oort cloud. I love science fiction, but sometimes we undersell distances in space. That's why there's always the you're instantly there trope of space travel and things like that. We forget that our own Oort cloud is actually in our own solar system, and it is hell far away. Um, and yeah, just I have not seen Spaceman. I know it would have to be a comedy, but just explorers, astronauts going out into space, finding something and bringing that life back with them, whether they knew they brought life back or not, is also a great storytelling element. Just saw the movie Life. There's a number of different movies called Life, but this particular one had a all-star cast. They were, on the ISS, the International Space Station, and a probe comes in and it has a bacterial life that quickly grows into an alien and essentially tries to kill them. And then, the astronauts try to kill it, and it's super tough and it's becoming far more intelligent. And unfortunately, the end of the movie doesn't turn out too well, but still. And, but anyway, it could be something as simple as astronauts bringing back bacteria, or the one or more of the astronauts being infected some kind of way. Maybe they bring back an alien artifact or a probe of some sort, or alien seed, or what have you. And now, to mind you, the smaller you make that, and the more immediate you make that, the more localized you could make your story or your world building, which may not necessarily disrupt the greater um, your greater modern day world. Now, if we start to go backwards in terms of alien visitation that we've already been visited, and like I said, 10 minutes ago, 10 days ago, 10 weeks, years, millennium, that also depends on like how much of a historical background you want with this. Like, for example, if we talk about ancient aliens, medieval, primeval visitation by aliens, they may have left behind. Um, your dead man says, in Life 2, the entire world is devoured by the life form. Calvin, they called it in the movie Life. um, yeah, and it wasn't too big, maybe the size of a large dog or something like that. Heck, even what's the new movie that's coming out? A Quiet Place Day One, and the arrival of the aliens that really want you to shut the hell up. The Quiet Place movies, kind of cool. As of course, A Quiet Place Day One, which would be the third movie in the installment. You do wonder, because the trailer opens up with every clips from the previous movies. Everyone's like, "Shh, be quiet," and then of course it's superimposed with the next edit of New York City with nothing but beeping horns and people uh, talking and yelling and conversing on the city that never sleeps, and of course aliens, which are extremely sensitive to audio sensations, or maybe I don't. It doesn't really explain if they have sonar. I don't believe they have sonar, but they are sensitive to sound, and just to have them go to one of the noisiest cities in the world, kind of cool. Um, Now, depending on how far in the past the aliens have come, have they arrived and they're gone, and you're just dealing with ancient artifacts or ancient knowledge or whatever? That's really great for investigative stories to be told, meaning that you don't have to worry about describing air quotes real aliens with big bug eyes and long fingertips and things like that. Is this may just be corpses, technologies, um, again, like artifact debris from alien invasion, from alien contact, uh, much like the movie. the movie Contact, where humanity just receives a digital signal that allows us to build a device. That device may uh, someone may want it to fall into the wrong hands. And talking about religiosity here, Drew, Dead Man says they could go to a rock concert. Boom, boom. um, the religiosity in the movie Contact, we do have a character who is a who self-made terrorist that has kind of pulled his motivation from a little bit of a religious background, who tries to sabotage the I'm going to call it the Contact Project. I don't remember what the name was in the movie, Jodie Foster and other people. But yeah, we have ourselves a terrorist activity. And I love the idea of people taking um, people understanding and even their sanity fraying, and that stripping apart of civility and such, and the players have to navigate in this world. Would be really great for like a Call of Cthulhu style horror-esque gaming, and for having people who become religious zealots, or zealots upon their own beliefs, and don't want to change their beliefs, so they rather destroy the thing that destroys their belief. Uh, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, they could go to a rock concert if that rock is an asteroid. And we did talk about different like almost 300 moons, and as we go in the future, we might even find more rocky bodies and moons in our own solar system. I think we could have. I think there's plenty of rocks we could live on if we really wanted to. Um, or exploit or steal from or whatever. Getting If our alien visitation is a little closer to uh, our modern day, meaning like it happened 10 years ago, 10 months ago, 10 weeks ago, that's also pretty cool, because maybe one or more of the aliens that have arrived, we've seen this plenty of times in movies and television shows, where the alien just another human being, that they look human, they sound and act human. The This is not only is it cheap to do it, but your excuse could always be, well, the aliens decide to take on our human form. Great. Okay. Well, at least we solved that. Great. You've got strength, dex, con, just like everybody else, or whatever game system you're using. And then maybe they have quirks or behaviors, and they may be anything from an alien probe like human who's here to just study humanity, to alien saviors who are here to stop other uh, infiltrators that have come to Earth, is also a great idea, as well as the fact that um, humanity may have been given gifts from an outside source through signals, through genetic modification, through alien infestation, and maybe the conflicts are just amongst human beings with the volume turned up just a little bit. So maybe there are humans that are walking the streets, but they have like an alien. The only term I can think of is face hugger, whether it's like something on their face, or has dug in their ear, or is sitting on their shoulder, or has like latched itself on their back or their forearm, and they're just walking the streets, and people like hide in the streets, much like the thumbnail is showed, where you have like the the old poster of "We've been visited by aliens, everyone hide and seek." And that could be possible, where there are humans who've been infected or infiltrated or something, and they look human, but they're just walking the streets, and they all have like maybe a special gift. um, and that special gift could be reading minds, or thermal vision, or telepathic communication, or mind control, or I don't know, walk through walls, or shed your skin to put on a new skin type or something. I don't know. Anything that's great, that just seems like, especially when it's creepy when you see a normal human being, but their eyes blink sideways, or they're able to dislocate their jaw and spew out some kind of insect hive or something, that or alien goo or whatever. But yeah, heck, even in V, they were lizard-like humanoids, but they put on very human-like skin so that they could blend in with us. That could be a thing that happens in the game. Uh, but I think even something more, uh, not crazy, but wrong word, more insidious would just be human beings that we today very immaturely would call, oh, they just act crazy. But really, their minds have been altered by viewing something like a basilisk hack, where they view information that changes their brain chemistry, or they've heard a signal from an alien source, and that signal has changed their brain chemistry to have them act and behave in strange ways. And they may not be classically, air quotes, alien in the sense of like oily skin or different colored eyes or something. It could just be just human beings that are acting the way we would normally say are like doesn't fit into our society. um Also, which factions know about the hidden aliens that we see? So are who knows about the astronauts that have returned from space? Who knows about the probe that went out into the deep reaches and brought back chemical or bacteria or something like that? Who knows about the energy waves that have been bathing Earth for the last 3 weeks? Like who really knows about it? And how valuable is that information? And or is it valuable? Or would someone want to murder kill over someone having that information? So I think this idea of having had been or currently being visited by aliens, and we're not certain what who and what they are, is actually kind of a good story element to pull from. Even if you're not, even if you not, if you don't prefer the classic giant alien unexplained ship in the atmosphere, something as simple as a a probe was sent into deep space and has returned, in and of itself can be a catalyst for many stories, from political appointees who want to take credit for it to uh, I don't know, scientists going on a tour because to display this alien artifact because now they feel like they're a local celebrity, and you know, getting their chest puffed up because they feel like they're a local celebrity. Um, Again, there may be those who want to destroy such an item or the people that are related to it because it damages their worldview. To sycophants, um, kissing the ass of those who have been witness to or touched or feel that they are blessed because they have access to or in the proximity of an alien artifact. You know, yeah, Drew. Exactly. And that's I should have said that too, because that's what went through my mind. And Drew's like, oily skin. Who cares about that? Give me proper aliens with tentacles. Gotta love our semi-moistened tentacles, um, caressing our body in places and ways and locations that may or may not be desired, or maybe we do. We just act like we don't. Maybe just a little bit. But some have even speculated that maybe the octopus itself, as a creature on Earth, is quite a bit alien in its behavior and development itself. That hey, maybe the octopus itself is a unexplainable, divergent biological thing that exists. And yeah, yeah, Dead Man. Um, I mean, there's so many things. Like Dead Man brings up, why not go with the eclipse phase aliens? The factors being giant slime molds. For those who do not know, Eclipse Phase is a role playing game that absolutely, it warms my heart that it even exists. It is a transhumanist, post human tabletop role playing game. And in it, they specify that aliens should be alien, meaning like aliens should not look or act, speak, um, like anything we would recognize as human. That an alien molds and that speak with pheromones and that would drive you insane if you could just hear their speech or things like that. Like basically, wow, my brain is going too fast. Uh, Eclipse phase suggests that you make aliens like Lovecraftian horrors. And that's where Drew and I were talking about, like oily skin, tentacles, um, things that we don't understand that have an intelligence to it that would scare the bejesus out of us. And mold, fungus, bacterium. I don't think we will a human-sized amoeba, like anything like that that has like a an intelligence level that even comes close to humanity would scare us, especially something that can unfortunately slip into our holes and crevices in our body. I think is also something else that we have a fear of. Dragons represent many of our primal fears of external threats like tigers, lions, birds, snakes, and so dragons represent that. Fire, lightning, and fire is also something that really scares the bejesus out of us on a primal level. And so combining all that together kind of makes sense why dragons exist around the world, because a dragon represents all of our external fears, predators, things like that. But now that we're really humanity's very safe from external predators, um, animal predators and things, a lot of that stuff is internal, like losing our memories, losing our not understanding or not believing in our own senses. Um, uh, Being surrounded by humans with the knowledge that some or many or all of those humans aren't human beings at all, that they are robots under their skin or their minds have been taken over or something like that. And uh, while it for me it would be interesting to for someone to world build off of this, I think it might hit too close to some other individuals' psychological uh, diagnosed or undiagnosed psychological issues. But I think a world in which those with neurodivergence are come to find out the world really is that way, and that that those individuals are not air quotes seeing things, but those things are actually true, would be a pretty interesting setting. Like those who have suffered and continue to suffer from like manic depression and bipolar and schizophrenia, and people who claim that they see and feel and uh, body dysmorphia things, and instead of being told, oh, that's just in your head, we find out that that's real. Although it's more of a comedic action movie, like They Live, they end up wearing glasses, and they're like, they put the glasses on, they're like, oh shoot, there really are aliens. It would be pretty interesting for players to have their minds opened, but the rest of the world is like, no, you're on the spectrum and a little dangerous. We might have to put you away. And the PCs are like running for their lives because they know that they're being hunted down because they see the world for the way it is. I think that would be very good. Um, I am not the one to make such a thing, but I think that using that, stealing that idea that, yeah, remember all those conspiracies? They're real. Although that's a different story. There is a role playing game. Is it Conspiracy X? Conspiracy X RPG. I think it Conspiracy X. When did 96? Um, Conspiracy X is a role playing game originally released by New Millennium Entertainment in 1996 and since revised and released by several publishers, including Steve Jackson Games, yeah, and Eden Studios. And nice game over drive through RPG. Nice game overall with simplified system, strong emphasis on extraterrestrial scenarios. Definitely love Eden Studios publications. And I think that's it. And I think there's another one too, where the idea behind it is that all the conspiracies you think exist are real, and then the player characters play in that world. Um, I think if someone were to make a game like that today, you would have to like narrow it down to maybe your top 10, maybe top 10 to top 15 conspiracies, and just focus on that. Like, you know, the alien visitation in Area 51 could be one conspiracy, and then birds aren't real is another conspiracy, and things like, and kind of merge them together. I think that'd be kind of cool. Now, um, something that happened in the, and I suppose we should do a separate episode of Three Body Problem, but I just wanted to bring up one little aspect of the Three Body Problem, at least as regards the television show. And so, in for those who don't know, there's a book series, The Three Body Problem. Actually, I'll put it up here. Three Body Problem. Let's see, novels. I'll put the television series because that's where my that's where I've gotten the impetus from, because it was something mentioned in the show. So what I like about the what was mentioned as portrayed in the television show is that um, contact with aliens doesn't need to be the stereotypical alien ship in space idea. Um, for example, in the show, the aliens are like traveling towards Earth, and they are. It is known that they are about 400 years away from us, and in terms of traveling at uh, subliminal light speed, like 0.01% light speed, they're like 400 years away, and yet they are able to communicate somewhat in real time. And what they did was they created an AI system, essentially a probe, and were able to imprint it on something the size of a proton and send that proton at basically at near light speed to get to Earth, so that, and then they quantum entangled that proton with another proton so they could see, hear, and act through that proton. And it it goes to show that given a sufficient alien technology, that sometimes we go, oh, giant spaceships. No, maybe miniaturization is a method of the Fermi Paradox, which is another filter, that maybe aliens have gone small, like instead of computers the size of rooms, we have computers in our back pockets that we use to watch 30-second TikTok videos on, right? Instead, maybe the alien technology is something that's so far beyond what we would consider that it's basically magic, and that is a proton that's basically an AI emulation that's able to perceive everything and anything, and you can't capture it, and you have to figure out how to like occupy it, and humanity's trying to figure out how to occupy something the size of a proton. Crazy, but true in the three body problem. But there's something else that was brought up. Let me get to the specifics of this, because I like to get squirrely. The aliens want to they want to wipe out humanity because they fear us. And the reason they fear us is that humanity is adapting on an exponential level. And as each age of industrialization as adaptation has come, in the industrial age being one of them, farming was an age, and then the age of information, and so on and so forth. Each age has become we've advanced in a shorter amount of time, thousands of years, hundreds of years, tens of years, dozens of years, etc. And the aliens are like, well, they get us thinking like, oh well, shoot, the aliens that are coming to us 400 years from now are want to preemptively strike, because if given 400 years of human ingenuity, we could absolutely equal and or surpass their technological advancements, even though in current time they are far more advanced than we are. Whew. Yeah, Drew's like, that is not how quantum entanglement works, but most sci-fi writers get that wrong. Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, quantum entanglement isn't the fact that two objects act in real time, but it's an easy out as a writer, because trying to write around um, time displacement and things like that is it's a little difficult. The Expanse did it, but other writers aren't like that's not the story they're telling. So I understand the idea of going like, well, this doesn't really make sense, but yeah, but I like the idea of aliens going like, yeah, we need to wipe you out because we're more advanced than you are today, but given the future, oh man, it might be even worse. And so I like that. I like that a lot. I like that the the I mean, heck, even in Three Body Problem, you had a group of zealots that were communicating and calling the aliens Lord. Yes, yes, my Lord, and stuff. Yeah, Drew's like, nah, we're harmless. We probably get us killed soon enough, all on our own. And that is a real thing as well. Like one of the filters in the Fermi paradox is the idea that civilizations couldn't spread amongst the stars because we become our own downfall. That no, we don't see other alien civilizations spreading from star system to star system because they've already died off. And that when a sufficiently advanced race of people, a civilization, society of people gets to a certain level, that we end up developing technologies that where we wipe ourselves out. And I wouldn't argue that maybe there's a greater propensity of wiping ourselves out more so than advancing into the future and being something that's collectivist, where we're like, you know what, we're all going to move to the future and we're all going to work together. Maybe the more, the greater the power of the technology we create, the greater the chances that we destroy ourselves. Yeah, Deadman says, yeah, quantum entanglement can easily be broken with each change taken by each proton. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And we could break apart some the science involved in anything from like quantum entanglement and other things like graphene and carbon nanotubes. Like, even though we're able to produce them now, we don't know if we could produce a carbon nanotubed cable that could make a space elevator, but we sure would like the hell to try, right? So yeah, quantum entanglement, I don't know if that's a real thing, but I think I don't mind sci-fi writers taking a liberty with that, especially if it's a liberty where they're not taking 20 liberties. You can always get like at least one or two asks where I go, all right, I'm going with this. I get you. The science of that doesn't really work the way you're saying it, but I'll go with you, and then go from there, right? So that's the thing. Now, something else that may be pretty interesting about humanity having already been visited by aliens would be maybe there is a special secret organization where the aliens are like, listen, we need to be hidden and we need to recruit another group of humans. And maybe the player characters are recruited into an organization. And it's like, oh no, we've been communicating with aliens this whole time. We just can't let the rest of humanity know. And so I can imagine trying to cover up that information, um, scrape back this information that might get out to the regular public. Maybe there are factions that have already made connections with an alien species or society, and the player characters are like the police. They're like, listen, we need to get those people back because they're sending a message to the aliens that we don't want to have that message sent, like enforcers. Maybe the player characters are recruited by the aliens who are hidden to let them know, listen, you need to know that there are terrible things going on Earth, or your greater solar system, and we're here to help, but we don't want to let anyone else know of our existence. Uh, or maybe the player characters are told, when you've been growing up and you've been thinking about all these strange places, like all those role playing games you played, honestly, you're an alien. And we're here to wake you up like a Manchurian candidate, right? Like that fictional creative life you thought you were living as a child, like 3 weeks ago, like myself, that immaturity you have so deep in you, that's not immaturity, that's us. And we've been cultivating your curiosity because you've been visiting worlds upon worlds this entire time, and now you've been trained, but we need you today. And imagine that'd be kind of cool to be like, you know what, all that dreaming you've done, you've actually been visiting other places and helping us out, so let us help you out and cure humanity. And although maybe this wouldn't be so much alien, but it would be kind of funny to like have a bunch of regular folks running around and they're like, I'm a knight and I'm a wizard. And like, you've been playing role playing games because we've been training you or something, which that's a different story. But I think that would be kind of fun to do that, especially if we're a bunch of normies. I remember, side note, you don't see this often in role playing games today at all. But there was a period of time where a bunch of role playing games were like, make up a character that is you with your stats. And I remember us as friends, we would get together and we'd be like, you do realize we're like cliff jumpers in like Dungeons and Dragons, right? So then we would all go, okay, now every one of us, we got to have like at least one high stat, if not two. And we're like, okay, let's see, our strength's low, our con's low, our charisma's pretty damn in down in the deep trenches. So okay, so does that mean our intelligence is high? And then we all looking at each other like, who's going to break? Who's going to be the one that says that friend is the dumbest one? Right? But there were some games where you had to make up yourself as yourself in your hometown and then adventure. And I think that's that the art of that is a little bit lost, but I think we could bring that back. Kids on Bikes and Tales from the Loop and Tales from the Flood, and I know there's some other childhood games where you play a character that is a child in a world, and I think those are kind of cool. Um, to see the world in through the eyes of something else, and being adolescent is one of those ways to view the world in a different manner, and and such. Now, I guess also one, not weakness but danger, could be from having some kind of alien contact would be, can you trust the alien contact? In the game I'm working on with you guys, Obsidian Star, which I've decided to do something drastically, not just with the game, but do something drastic because good is better than perfect. So I'll end it on that. So give me another 5 minutes. Um, Along the lines of good is better than perfect, and why to get something in your hands, in all of you guys' hands, rather than take my time to make something perfect, which I'm still going to work on, but you'll find out in just a minute. So 4 minutes. So the um sometimes maybe the so-called contact from aliens might not be trustworthy. That signal could have come from a government working on something or an AI. And yes, in the truest sense, we have been contacted by air quotes aliens, meaning something that is very different from us. But that alien contact could be um, uh, uh, a beacon that astronauts sent back and is like, we've been changed, here is information you need to understand. It could be a hidden project from a government to try to disrupt humanity. It could be, like I said, an AI system or simply maybe it's just radiation that has spilled across Earth, or a viral manifestation that is changing people's outlook, and we are just interpreting it as an extrastellar contact, but it could be something as simple as a virus spreading across humanity, and the player characters understand what it is. It's people getting sick, but their minds may be thinking it's something else. Um, so that's a possibility, and it could be layer upon layer, right? Like a signal sent from a satellite that was launched by a government could have been given that technology by astronauts they sent out in space, because those astronauts then were contacted by another signal from the outer reaches of the Oort cloud, and that signal was sent by a generation ship of humanity that went out there, who discovered some alien artifact that gave them some information. Like it could be stacked upon stacked upon stacked, where it's like, well, technically it's alien, but it's not, because it was created by humanity. We've What was the movie? Sphere was the movie where um, deep sea divers are tasked, scientists and such are tasked with going down into the deep ocean to find where they found an alien artifact known simply as the Sphere, and it's inside of a spacecraft that is clearly designed by humans, with human um, markings on it, from a starship from our future that was trapped in the deep ocean for a millennium. Different, right? And the origin of that is pretty interesting. Of course, even the alien artifact, which could technically be called a wish machine, unfortunately, easily um, it doesn't understand the difference between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, which is pretty dangerous. And our spoiler alert for a very old movie, probably 20 years old. Let me look. Sphere. I know I'm wrong. Sphere from 1998. Star cast too: Dustin Hoffman, Samuel L. Jackson, Sharon Stone, Liev Schreiber, Queen Latifah, um, Peter Coyote. Who else is in this? Huey Lewis, James Pickens Jr., bunches of people. So anyway, um, they end the movie by collectively wishing the sphere away, because it may have been an alien gift from that humanity may have found in the future, and they were trying to hide it. And so they're there may have been a concerted effort to try that humanity in the future was trying to hide it from everyone else. And could you imagine? We talked about this before in the channel. It's been a little while. A wish machine, a wish fulfillment machine, that whatever you think in your mind you can have. That's pretty damn dangerous, especially when it's a singular object that works on your subconscious mind. But what a great world building engine of immediacy. Like a very corrupt industrialist could get in contact with an alien wish fulfilling sphere, and then that sphere creates a world in which that individual is king of the world. And last week they weren't, but they are now, and everyone believes it. And the characters are like, oh, we got to go around and stop this. Warehouse 13 and a number of other televised version of Friday the 13th. And there's some other shows where you have a group of agents that are going around collecting ancient artifacts and devices and things like that. Debris was another show that I felt I knew it was going to get canceled, but from the beginning. But it was, alien uh, debris from a starship lands upon the Earth, and then the fragments of that debris hold power in and amongst itself. And I like that too, because it was more like sci-fi, um, and magic, wish fulfillment, but science fiction wise, used with science fiction. It's kind of cool. Wow, the Rotten Tomato score is 38%. Ooh. But 73% people like the movie. I liked the movie. I liked it. Hmm. Anyway, um, thank you very much for being part of the show. I really appreciate it. So, good versus perfect. One of the reasons, and this is a practical reason why, and I'm going to bring up Hollywood and Hollywood writers and creators and such, and I'm going to bring it back to me. One of the reasons why we don't often get perfect stories, but we get some relatively good stories is simply production. Um, a writer that writes dozens of good stories will always get more work than the writer who makes perfect stories but is inconsistent in their production. So an individual can absolutely, and we may give a lot of credit to the person who writes the great American novel. Great, you made one novel. Thank you very much. But we had to wait a long time for it. And apparently, we're not getting another one. Whereas a good writer who writes a handful, dozens upon dozens of really, not even really good, distracting enough stories will always get more work and find more success because they are constantly producing something. So, um, I'm designing Obsidian Star, and I have the setting, but I don't have the rules right, down quite, and I'm still working on things, and I kind of want it to look perfect. And perfection is killing the good. It's killing the forward momentum. So there are dozens and dozens and dozens of free to use rule systems. And at first I was going to try to narrow it down and say, well, you know what? Let me pick a rule system that I like and settle in with that one. And maybe I'll just use a rule system and throw mine out. And I said, well, no, because I am a creator and there's no way I'm never going to not design something. But there's a lot of other brilliant people who've made their own gaming systems that have been tested. Some of those game systems are popular, some of those aren't. And I said, well, wait a minute. Why don't I just layer my fluff onto their mechanics? And then instead of picking, and Drew, thank you very much. T-shirt room. Yeah, 80% of the work is done with 20% effort, while the other 20% require 80% of the effort. Yes, absolutely. And I like the fact you're using the 20-80 rule. But then I said to myself, well, I don't have to limit myself to one game system. Um, and what I mean by game system is a game system that is both under the Creative Commons 4.0, which means you can freely use it without having to share anything except attribution, which means giving credit to where it came from. But I also don't have to limit myself to one gaming system. So everything from Forged in the Dark, I have a list too. Blades in the Dark is one, Black Hack, Morkborg, Cyborg, Push, Lumen, Double Zero, Trophy, Cairn, um, Open D6 is another one. The 2014 D&D rules, or I guess we call it 5th edition now, is in the Creative Commons. Level Up 5th edition is in Creative Commons, and there's so many others. There is a truncated cipher system that's in the Creative Commons, and I went, each of them has their own flavor. So if I steal, and I know word steals, you can't steal something that's been given away, but follow me on this. If I steal the gaming system and then layer my nomenclature, my thing over top of it, I can then produce something that's good, meaning getting something very easily into the hands of you guys. And then it can also be different flavors of methods of play. One may be very more combat focused. One may be very more political. Another one may be very investigative. Like what's a good investigative game? Call of Cthulhu, or there's a version of Cthulhu from Chaosium games that's out there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Karen. Oh wait, you mean Cairn? Yes, Cairn. Although I guess you pronounce Karen the same way. Yes, that is exactly what I mean. So yeah, uh, so I've narrowed down some of these. Fate's another one. All of the iterations of Powered by the Apocalypse and versions thereof, because Forged in the Dark is technically a Powered by the Apocalypse game. Um, and then there's other games that use non dice methods to tell a story, from tarot cards to playing cards, um, to things like that. And there are games out there that are not necessarily free. Well, they're free in the sense of someone's like, hey, this thing could be used as a role playing game foundation. Someone use it, you know, that kind of thing. Some randomizers are so simple as to uh, be, how to explain this. I went through a deep dive, and I've actually gone to this deep dive. It's been about 8 or 9 years since I've done these deep dives into ways to modulate randomization that is simple enough to get out the way of the game system you're using. And we've seen the extreme of this, like using a Jenga tower. Is there a Jenga tower above my head? It's not called Jenga, of course, but oh nope, it's over there. But yeah, Dread using a Jenga tower, 10 candles using candles itself to blow out for your character sheet. I think there's one called I was going to say unbearable. It's you take a sheet of paper and you write on it your character's capabilities, and every time you do something you have to rip a piece of the paper off, and there's limitations to it, like um how large you have to write on the parable. And I think it's called a terrible RPG, terrible RPG. uh let's see if here's a Reddit thing on it. Yeah. um the Terrible RPG. This is back in 9 years ago. I remember this. I created a new super rules light RPG I want to share with you. It's called Terrible RPG, and I have it up for free on Drive Through. It was a game I developed for the 200 word RPG contest that year. No dice, no tokens, no cards. You only need some paper and a little imagination. When a player starts to run low on skills or paper, they make a last pitched effort by crumbling up their remaining character sheet and throwing it at the GM. If they hit the GM with their character goes down in one big blaze of glory and succeeds at anything they are trying to accomplish. It's really silly. Basic concept is simple. Each player gets a regular sheet of paper. They write any 6 skills on it. This is their character sheet. They can choose any skill they think of, and they can write the whole skill however they want on the paper. When it comes time to use a skill, the player will have to rip off a piece of their character sheet, removing at least one full letter of the skill they intend to use, and whatever else comes with the tear by accident. If they do this, they succeed. That's simple. Yeah, it's a pretty and that's pretty. Let me see if I can get the link to this. I might as well put it up. Oh, it's not there anymore. What? What? No, no, no. What? All right, I guess I'll have to put up the Reddit sheet, but it already. Let me copy this. It already, once I read that, it actually told you what the rules are. Um, there it is. That no, I need this. I don't need that. Yeah, because I think the drive-through link is dead. Nope, it's not dead. Huh. Hmm. Huh. Hmm. There it is. Copy. There it is. Here's the other link to drive through. Not that you need it, but yeah, it's like 9 years old. but that's really funny. But again, good, not perfect, but then good might be perfect. So using the background of Obsidian Star, um, so far I'm like 90% of the way through the RPG known as Trophy, and Trophy is a game in which you play explorers in a forest of horrors in which yourself and your group may tear itself apart. Um, Instead of collecting trophies from hunting, you become the trophy that is hunted. And instead, I'm reframing it as the dangers of space exploration and isolation itself. The horror of being alone in space may drive you insane, um, and the group may tear itself apart while it tries to explore the deeper reaches of our solar system. So that's going to be Trophy. Um, Blades in the Dark is going to be about the Jovian system. I'm going to cut it down a little bit, or quite a bit, and so yeah. Drew says, so I write German compound words as skills on my sheet to have plenty of letters to tear from. Well, I suppose, although here's the deal, right? Because you think you could cheat the system, but if I write down long conjugated verbiage, at some point I'm going to accidentally start tearing into something that I don't want to lose. So, really, the smaller, shorter word that is spread further apart on the sheet of paper works. And you kind of don't want to write in small letters, because if I write down the word swimming, like what kind of skill do you have? Swimming or climbing? I don't want it too small because I might rip it in completely in half. I want to be able to rip that G off of climbing and just have climbing left. Climbing. So there is a little bit of that too. Small words written really big that you could easily tear through without ripping the rest of the skill off. But it's still fun. I still think that's very fun, because each person could go off in their corner, and you could even that's actually pretty easy to do online gaming, because all you have to say is, hey, listen, everybody, go out, buy a Sharpie, get a blank sheet of paper, um, and a Sharpie with a different, absolutely vibrant color like blue, darker colors, purples or something. Put it down in your sheet, and then on camera, facing the camera, rip your sheet of paper. That'd be very fun. Yeah, Drew says, anyway, does that mean you will no longer go with the arts and crafts system or whatever it was called? I love what you said there. Art and no. One doesn't preclude the other. It's art and science. Art and science. You're funny, Drew. No, I'm not precluding through that at all. But I would rather get something in your hands, so I can modify. All I have to do, not all I have to, of all I've been doing, is uh most of these SRDs, system reference documents, are available for free, and some of them aren't very large. Like the Monad One system isn't large. Let me see the Monad Monad RPG SRD from World Anvil is available for free, and you can just copy and paste it and then modify it the way you want to. And as long as you leave attribution, you're good. So no, I'm not getting rid of a thing. I'm actually going like, you know what? I'm gonna put something in other people's hands, and then see how popular. Because I was going to give it away for free anyway. So what I want to do? It Here we go. Monad. This is just an example. Let me share this out instead. So, boo, 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 boo. This is the Monad system. I know it sounds funny, but I believe it's Italian, and this comes from World Anvil. And Monad, powered by Echo. is the SRD, and you can find that gaming system. This is just one of a number of things, but the Monad system is available, and you could make a game for it. The same thing with Trophy, same like I mentioned before. Same thing with Blades in the Dark. It's actually called Forged in the Dark. Let's go with for Forged in the Dark. I'm not looking for the logo. I'm looking for the SRD. And there's plenty of other Forged in the Dark games. So let's share this out. Blades in the Dark, and right here we have ourselves Forged in the Dark. And Forged in the Dark games, you can support various people who've done that. We've got Band of Blades is here, Girl by Moonlight, and Scum and Villainy are the ones that are here. This is either called A State or All State. AI State, step into a Baroque urban nightmare, the world of A State. How do you pronounce that? Anyway, and here's another one: The Age of Blood and Gold. Asphalt and Trouble is another one, and Beam Saber, Bloodstone, and all of these were made. There's Bloodstone on itch.io. You can pick it up there. Brinkwood is another one. Bump in the Dark, Kids, and things like that. And all of these are made from the Forged in the Dark game rules, the SRD. So if I click over on the side, we have the basics of the rules, and this is a system reference document. And then it does tell you about the attributions for Forged in the Dark and things. And this is just an example. So if you go Forged in the Dark, you got community resources, all that kind of stuff. What it requires if you want to make a game in Forged in the Dark, and then the SRD markdown version of the exact same game. So this is the markdown HTML and MD and text and the README files if you would like to do that. So. Drew says I call it A State. A State, yeah, like not an state like a state, but it's like a state, like a state of being. Yeah, cool. But anyway, and that's just those are just examples. And I said, you know what, I need to get some shit in people's hands. So a very simple act of cutting and pasting, and then going through the rule system, modifying it, adding in air quotes fluff where needed when the crunch is there, because a lot of the SRDs have none of their the worlds that are created around the game, like in Blades in the Dark, belongs to someone else, but the rule system is open for use and very hackable. And a lot of the games, there's a strange thing. Before I get out of here, there's a strange thing that we do as game creators that I think we make too much of a big deal about, and those are semantics. And sometimes words make semantics. So, and I think we could even have a conversation about this. I think as far as game designing, maybe I might do that tomorrow. You know what? I'm gonna save it for tomorrow. But essentially, long story short, armor class, hit points, alignment, has always been under contention in terms of the beginning of our introduction to gaming. And very quickly, we realized that armor class and alignment and hit points don't mean what they say. And sometimes just changing a few words can really immerse us into what you're trying to say. And sometimes it's not the game system. Sometimes it's the game terminology that throws us off in terms of our acceptance of such a thing. And so you might find yourself some success in designing your own game if you just if we can look past the semantics of the game and to find out exactly what it is. Like D20 games is just rolling a D20 and adding and subtracting some modifiers. Everything after that is just mechanical fluff. So, but anyway, guys, thank you very much for being part of the show. Got to get out of here. Everyone have a great day. I will see thee later. Peace and tranquility. Thank you very much, and out.